Okay. Well, at 6:30, we'll open the meeting at 6:30. As always, this meeting is being broadcast live, Tom, and digitally recorded. And so we'll start off with open session as usual. Is anyone here for open session? Here? Come on up.
Do I need to come up?
Yeah, come on up. Sit. Pull that bench up. Why don't you pull that bench a little bit? And so if you could just state your name and your address.
Near Cohen, 17 Main Street.
Okay. So Nir had emailed me earlier as an attachment that I couldn't see. So you want to just sort of let us know why you're here?
Yes, I have my driveway, and which for the cars. But then next to my house, through the driveway, I cannot access my backyard. In my north side of the house, I have my wood, cold wood.
Yep.
And it's also access to the backyard. And I know in the past, I had some kind. I mean, it's not a sidewalk, but it seems like it's paved. I don't know. You can see it in a picture.
Yeah, this is, so Nir's house is a couple houses down that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's got the cordwood next to it down on Main Street.
Oh, yeah.
The cordwood's
Yeah.
on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about that?
Right, this part, yes, this is the property line is right here between me and Marianne, and this is, I think originally they paved it this way to have a double driveway for both
Okay.
houses. I just need access to the back here. Now, what is, according to I think we got the email and I have the print of from the TEC, this is my house around here.
So what Nir has here,
And-
we're on the town center committee together. So this is TEC's conceptual design. So anyway, continue on.
Right, so in front of it's not a driveway, I mean, I'm not gonna have a driveway, I just want a grass there, but
Yeah.
there is a parking spot here, the third parking spot.
I see.
Which, and now it'd be like 6 inches of granite, so it's, I
Right,
wanna
right,
be
right.
able to access. So if we can eliminate this parking spot and just, I guess, the same way they do with the driveway, just lower it.
So it's almost like a pre-curb cut, you know, cutting the
Yeah.
curb before the curb's even there. Have you gone down to the DPW or anything yet to talk about this?
No,
Okay.
no,
You don't need to.
it's not the driveway, and I need for me just can come
Exactly.
here. So I mean, my request. I mean, I don't know.
I-
just if-
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, it's just part of what the whole town center reconstruction ultimate project is making it for the town of Hubbardston as well as the Main Street residents. So making it receptive towards certain considerations for the Main Street residents and businesses, I think is really important. So, you know, I think that we'll you know, talk to TEC and try to implement it into the final design. The one thing I want to caution against is there's obviously a lot of different people that live on Main Street and
Right.
businesses. So I think we would just have to sort of take a look at different scenarios to make sure we're not setting any precedent that we don't feel comfortable setting.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. Whatever they need to
But
do.
we should do it the right way the first time instead of going
Correct.
back afterwards and
Yep.
trying to adjust it to accommodate you.
So our,
So you got the right way. is called?
Do it
Yeah.
like if this happens, do it the right way
Oh, right, I
now
see.
rather than going back afterwards
Right,
and
right.
changing
Right,
it. You know.
absolutely.
yeah. So we're expecting, and Mike Myers from TEC got back to me not too long ago. I might have forwarded it to a response back to the town center committee that said they're going to have their 25% design done for our January meeting, I think. So that's when we'll be able to sort of drill into a little bit more specific considerations such as this, and that'll be the perfect time to do it.
Can we
Okay.
propose it into the project right there when we're working on it?
Yep.
To accommodate, so anybody that wants to have changes, they should probably bring it forward. now.
Well, so we're gonna try to do a really good job advertising again. You know, we had a decent turnout at our first, again, not hearing, whatever we had, information session. That was just based on the schematic that he's showing. We're gonna have some real design now. The 25% design is a big step. You know, it costs $75,000, and it's a big step. So we're gonna be able to hopefully get the word out to this, what is being designed now, you know, speak now. Sort of thing.
Right.
You know, if you have a thing like this where you notice that, you know what, I don't really want a curb there, I want to bring this up. So that's what we're going to try to get out to all the residents, you know, the whole town, but specifically Main Street residents and businesses, to say, hey, look, we've been tasked by the select board to work with an engineer to design this. You know, here's your chance to collaborate. So it won't be the last chance. There's a 50% design, it's, you know, that sort of thing. But it'd be a real good time early on to get some of these considerations in there like that.
Okay, so what is the next step for me, or do I?
Nothing, just stay on the town center committee.
Oh, okay. I enjoy it.
Okay,
Alrighty.
all right, good. Thanks, Nair.
Thank you.
Anyone else, you wanna comment on that?
I'm here for the Board of Assessors.
Yeah.
We thought that was gonna be first, but
Oh, no, we're still in open session.
Bill Holman's, Four
Hi,
Main
Bill, how you
Street.
doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I'm here for the Common Street problem.
This is the one next to your house?
Yes.
Okay.
It's washing away. It's really becoming unsafe. The amount of cars that go up there twice a day for
School?
kid exchange. It's just, all the dirt's washing down the end of the road, and it hasn't been graded in 3 or 4 years now. It's becoming a problem. People are parking basically on my lawn now, which isn't the greatest, but I'd like to get it fixed up this next spring. It's just, we need something to do over there, look at it. I know you're saying issues that it's not a town road. I'd like to rectify that.
I remember, you had
It's on the
old
list.
plans and all that sort of stuff,
It's
right?
on the list. My mother was issued a building permit on Common Street when she built the garage here years ago for access into the garage. But whatever way we can work it out, I'd like to get that determined and get the road fixed, or I wanna block it off.
Get what determined? The ownership?
Well, it's town property, and it is a town road, it always has been. There was houses off that road many years ago. There was a two-family, there was the blacksmith shop and everything else, and the town has always plowed it and graded it since I've been a boy. I've lived here 60 years.
Yeah.
And it's always been done. So whatever way we can fix that to get it taken care of, it's getting unsafe. People fly up that road. I know you've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of these people getting their kids are in a hurry and they just scoot up and down that. It's just getting unsafe. And I don't know if we can accommodate it into the Main Street project, like we had talked before, but I really want it looked at.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of stuff we're talking about. It might be able to be. I mean,
Well, we talked about it at the meeting, but
we did.
I wanted to bring it forward officially. I don't want this to go by the wayside and nothing happen. Because if it keeps going the way it is, I've lost quite a few feet off the front side, and it keeps getting wider. Just because there's nothing there, and then the water keeps washing everything away. It's gone down quite a bit.
Yeah.
But if you look at it when you go by, it's only twice a day people use it, 5 days a week, but it's a lot.
Yeah,
And plus the
yeah.
church uses it on
And
Sundays.
it's narrow, so no one, everyone's parked up on the sides, and it just keeps getting wider and wider.
They had
so-
the fair there for the church last Saturday. I couldn't get out. The only way I was gonna get out with my truck is to drive down the common. I couldn't, there was too many cars parked like this, and there's no way I could fit between them. So it's just, I'd like to get it rectified.
Okay, well, that's disruptive, so, okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thanks.
Anyone else here, anyone else here for open session? No, okay. Brian, wanna get us going on
I
the
know
next
we're
item?
gonna do the classification hearing, I think that's the next one on the schedule, so
All right,
come on up.
come on up, whoever wants to.
Come on, there's plenty of room on this bench here. The
Moral
board,
support.
come on, come on.
All right, John, you wanna go up here? Al?
Someone should go up.
I'm not going home, though.
Oh, for goodness
And I,
sakes.
just in
There we go.
matter of introduction, I had sent the board a town manager or town administrator's report in which I indicated that we would have to postpone or at least recess this meeting because of the problem that we have that we're gonna discuss next, which is the need for a special town meeting.
Continuing.
The state has changed, a couple of things have changed since last Wednesday. One of which was they felt very comfortable with us going forward with this hearing. And the result will just be held until we get through the issues we have to clean up at the special.
Okay, good.
So this meeting can go forward as normal.
So, yeah, it's, what I understand is just a technicality in voting procedures.
Yep.
So, should not change the numbers at all from your accountant, so,
I think it
The-
will not change numbers, right? I mean, there's no chance of it changing, really, is there?
Never say never.
Okay.
DOR gets the last approval.
She seemed pretty comfortable
She's-
though, that I think we're
She seemed
set.
pretty comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is, standard classification hearing information to you on setting the tax rate, the terminology. So as we go through it, the tax levy, I don't know if should I read this or not?
No, you don't
and
have to
just
read it.
get to
I
the
mean,
bottom line?
Yeah, I mean, you know, anything you feel important, please just,
Well, so we're really close to, the levy last year was actually, the levy in fiscal year 17 was 6,787,098. This year, it's actually 6,772,982. So it's actually decreased a bit. There is some capacity to raise the levy, but you were not doing any borrowing that required capital debt exclusions. Debt exclusions or capital expenditures voted by a ballot, so that left any levy on the table. New growth came in at $93,074. So I made a note on that second page. That is really 35,000 of that is attributed to your 2 new solar projects. And the remainder of the Madison Green condominium. So that complex is completely done and built this year.
built out.
Built out. Nothing left. There were 5 new houses. There were 2 new buildings built on the Country Hen property. There are a couple other ones going up considerable size. Next year or the following year, it's kind of a 3-phase project over there. Other than that, there were a lot of additions and remodels in the community for the $93,000.
Okay.
Excess levy capacity, we have brought that down to $1,172.37. So what you have before you is the levy limit and the amount to be raised. On the first page, second page goes into the percentage of the class. So your residential class is almost 94% of the town. And the remaining 6% is your commercial, industrial, and personal property. So really shifting anything to your commercial, industrial ratepayers would be rather burdensome on those small number of taxpayers. And you have not done that before, so I actually didn't prepare any options for you to choose from. You'd need a lot of, probably over 8% in order to get a percentage on the residential rate.
Yeah, I think that's just the way we've operated, and
Right.
I think the only reason it necessarily should be presented is if something weird happened in a year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And then we
right.
can sort of see how that shook out again, but otherwise, yeah.
Right. Or if you bring some big industry into town.
That's what I mean by
at
weird.
some point, yeah.
That's what I mean by
well,
weird.
You never know. Certainly, with economic development incentives, the state may come across somebody looking to locate.
Yep.
So we would, again, recommend a single tax rate. And actually this year, based on all of the information from the accountant, the rate will drop 10 cents. It would go from $15.23 of last year to $15.13 this year.
Okay, that's good news, going down.
There you go.
So last year we had a little bit of surprise when people's tax bill.
Yes.
You want to just go over why that happened again and why it wouldn't be happening this year?
So this year there were no real valuation adjustments to speak of. The sales from the prior year were steady. Some properties did increase. There were ranches and capes are still selling for a premium in central Massachusetts community towns. Hubbardston is still growing in that respect. We kept the values at about 96% of market. And so we kept them the way they were for the year to see what the 2017 sales would be for the whole year. They're still on the rise. Next year we'll probably have to make a minor adjustment, but that's really where it comes. And the other thing is just the shift in the revenues from the town. There were some revenue adjustments.
And we bought
The ambulance, right. So all of those things together made for a little bit of an increase on people's tax bills. You can see the prior year, even though the valuations went up quite a bit, but the rate actually went down from 1590 to 1523.
Yep.
But the valuations increased significantly.
Right.
So as a result of that, we used, I think it was about $84,000 in overlay this past year, which was about $20,000 more than we typically use. And that was really to get a handle on some data corrections that need to happen with some of the properties in the town. So I think we're in pretty good shape this year as far as verifying a lot of data. A lot of property inspections were done. And I think we've cleaned up the majority of that.
When do you expect the next sort of major valuation to be performed?
Well, we do 1/10 of the town every year. So actually we just did 300, was it 320, about 300 inspections. The cyclical inspections.
You don't do, there's not every 5 years, there's a ramped up portion of it too, no?
Yes, the reval.
Reval, oh, that's what I
Yeah.
meant. That's
But
what-
every year we do property inspections. So the next revaluation with the DOR is in 3 years.
Okay.
But every year is a reval year.
Yeah.
So we have to do interim year adjustments anytime the stats don't qualify.
Okay.
So
Okay, so what?
this just shows you where your on your LA4, where the breakdown is on the valuation between single families, condominiums, 2-family and 3 families, just to bring that to your attention.
Okay,
I think your vote tonight, Dan, is to simply establish a single tax rate.
sounds good.
Yep, so the vote is to,
At $15.13.
and so and also we're verifying that, you heard the assessor present the information, and the LA5 excess levy capacity for the current fiscal year is calculated at $1,172.37. Right?
Yep.
Okay. And so every board member needs to print their name and sign their name on that page.
Should we make this motion first?
You want the motion first?
Yeah,
So-
go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the recommendation of the Board of Assessors for a single tax rate to be applied to all classes of property in Hubbardston, and that rate being
$15.13.
$15.13.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Tom?
Could you explain the note below the tax rate paragraph about the estimate only, this rate requires a special town meeting to approve the use of free cash?
We're gonna have a discussion in about 5 minutes about the need for a special town meeting that we're gonna have to call for, in fact, in about 2 weeks, so that we can establish, I can explain it now, or we can wait until we get to that
What rate
point.
would be required to not have a special town meeting?
You'd have to reduce budget. It wouldn't be, it's not a question of adjusting the rate, it's gonna be a question of reducing budget. You'd have to reduce budget or you could put any excess cash that the town has and lower rate, but the budget back in June was built on using $173,097 in free cash. What the DOR is wrestled with and had a problem with was that the use of free cash was not clearly spelled out in the vote. It didn't say it was coming from free cash. However, the revenues are there.
Yep.
And they were planned to be used. The DOR took issue with how it was explained and with what clarity. So we need to go back to the meeting to go back to a meeting to establish that same vote, clearly identifying it as a free cash transfer, at which point in time the state will then allow us to set the tax rate and we can get bills issued.
I don't know if that answers your question, Tom.
How much free cash was certified?
173, well, I don't know how much was certified. What we're using is 173,000.
How much is it?
970.
What's that?
We don't have free cash certified
There's
yet
no
for
free
the
cash
town.
certified this year. This
Right.
is last year's.
This, right.
Well, that gets in, that statement just gets into the other issue that the town needs to resolve. I'm not likely to be here at that point, but I think the practice has been to read the article and then to have someone say, so moved. The problem with that process is that it doesn't have the finer nuances that would have picked this up. This would have gotten picked up in a motion. What typically happens is the motion would identify all of the sources of the revenue, and had that gotten picked up, we wouldn't be here tonight doing, or we'd still be doing this, but we wouldn't be scheduling a special town meeting. So it's that kind of thing that you might want to consider in the future, is going to motions rather than just having articles moved and seconded on the floor.
Okay, Ed's pretty good about saying where these funds are from. Where is this from borrowing? Is this from whatever else? So this must have just slipped through because he's pretty good at
Yeah,
that. You know,
it
identifying
did.
that even before he's asking us
Yeah,
as we're
yeah.
sitting down, "Hey, where's this coming from? Is this borrowed? Is this So must have just slipped through.
Right. It was the general budget that.
Yeah.
The way the motion was printed in the minutes to the town meeting.
Okay, so any further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry, I forgot what we're supposed to do.
Right, print and sign your names, please.
So like one here and one here.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I can get it
Okay,
tomorrow.
Wednesday
Yeah,
is okay.
Thanks for all your work on this.
No problem.
Thanks, guys.
I
for all
do,
your work on this.
just because we're waiting for the special town meeting, I'll wait and then do the tax brochure, and I'll get that over to you as soon as possible.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Have a good night.
All right, so our next item
Special town meeting.
is town administrator report.
Well, I'm gonna need to, we introduced the topic at the time of the town administrator's report, but since that time,
Yeah.
it's gotten refined a little bit more. And so as I just explained, the state was, Department of Revenue was uncomfortable with the way the eventual vote took place on the general budget, and that it did not specifically call out free cash for the use of $173,000. Again, there is not an issue of whether there is sufficient funds. There are. It was planned to be used. It simply did not clearly get identified in the vote that was taken or the minutes that were taken of that vote. Consequently, before the state will allow us to set a tax rate, we need to go back to town meeting and vote that money. In fact, let me show you.
We didn't actually go back to video or anything to see if,
That's what I was wondering.
because we videotaped it.
Right, but we've had any number of people, including Joyce, working on this since last Tuesday, I think, when it first surfaced, or Wednesday when it first surfaced. And no one has suggested that there was something different said that wasn't recorded in the minutes, so. So essentially, you're gonna have a one article, special town meeting. The article will be to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate, borrow, or transfer a sum of money to reduce the 2018 tax rate or act to do anything relative thereto. The motion will be to transfer 173,970 from free cash to reduce the 2018 tax rate. And it's gonna be in the warrant, there'll be a note that says passage of this motion will transfer 173,970 from the town's free cash to offset the town's FY18 budget and thereby lower the rate.
Understood.
We just don't wanna have any folks thinking that there's more going on here. This is, I
Yeah,
would
we're
say
asking for-
ministerial,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't want anyone to, and it's also being rushed, and I'll tell you why it's being rushed. There's two reasons. One is the closer we get to the Christmas holiday, I think the less likelihood is of getting a quorum, frankly.
Yeah.
And secondly, I need to issue tax bills by the end of December, or you lose a window of opportunity. If you get them out by December 31st, then they're due and payable by January 31st. If they go out after December, then it's 6 months before they're due and payable. So your cash flow takes a significant hit, and that's the reason why we're asking you to open and close a town meeting warrant tonight.
And you confirmed with that this is all,
Oh, yeah, no, we went to council, and the only difficulty, or the majority of the difficulty we're having is meeting the requirement to mail it.
right.
So we think, and I thanks to Joyce for doing it, but we think we can get this done tomorrow. It's gonna end up being a meeting on a Wednesday. I had hoped for a Tuesday. I can't do that because there just isn't enough time to get it to the post office.
Okay.
So, we're asking for the 13th of December instead of what was the 12th, in maybe earlier memos to you. Again, it's a one motion, one article, town meeting to establish that free cash is the source of the funds, of the 173,970
Okay.
funding.
All right, well, thanks for the explanation. I think we'll have an opportunity at our December 11th meeting as well. In the event that anybody receives this in the mail and wants to know what's going on and can't quite figure it out, we'll have an opportunity to address
Yeah,
it.
I don't
then.
know, I'm gonna pass this around because I need you to sign originals. You all need to sign, but take a look at the, one of the reasons we put the motion and a brief explanation on the warrant
Oh, okay.
was because we thought it might be helpful to the person getting it in the mail.
Right, right.
So,
So,
So you need a motion to
we need a
open,
motion to open and close a warrant for the town meeting on
you can do
December
it all in
15th.
one motion? So I'll make the motion to open and close the warrant for a special town meeting December 13th.
I'll second the motion.
We did notify all the department heads in case there was something of some emergency nature, but no one, we were so close away from the earlier meeting in October that anyone who had something could have gotten it done at that meeting, and I think we're planning to do, you need to sign individually every one. I think people were planning on that October meeting, and that's why we had other items on there. No one was planning for this, so I don't think anyone is harmed by having this meeting go forward.
there's no senior center article on it. Any further discussion? Seeing none? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna get those originals over to Joyce.
Mhm.
because they have to go posted.
Yeah, we have to mail them tomorrow.
And that was Wednesday the 13th, right, Brian?
It's Wednesday the 13th.
Okay.
7 o'clock, I think, yeah.
7?
I think
7
it's
o'clock?
it says on there.
Yeah.
And what do we need for a quorum? 50?
That's what I'm told. So, we're actively recruiting
Yeah.
folks.
I can,
It'll be a short meeting.
I
but
can
mean,
post it online, I
15
don't know
minutes.
if I want.
They just come
Post
in.
it on
yeah.
Facebook, I can, with the warrant attached to it. Oh my god, I need more apps.
I know, me too.
All right, well, thank you. I'm sorry for that need, but this stuff, kind of thing will happen from time to time.
Yep.
The rest of the town administrator's report, I gave you a copy of the budget calendar, so you know where we are in the planning process for the FY19 budget. And I also gave you an updated copy of the Town Administrative Search Committee calendar, so that you would see where your role is gonna start to come into play in early January.
So, right, you guys most recently met?
No, we will meet, Wednesday. We
Wednesday,
passed, the deadline for applications was the 3rd.
Yep.
And the committee members have had since the 4th, through until Wednesday night, to review the applications. We have a scoring grid that was established, and folks are scoring the candidates. Some are submitting them to me so that we can put them on a master sheet. Some are gonna wait until Wednesday night. But I think Wednesday's gonna be a relatively long meeting, but part of the reason it's gonna be a little bit long is we did, I think there's some general consensus developing that we got some very good candidates.
Great.
So I think you're gonna be, it'll be difficult for you as well, and that's a good thing.
What are you reducing it down to, or
Well,
trying, or
it's,
trying to?
we haven't even, we were just talking electronically with one member that said, you know, I'm having a hard time getting down to 6, which is kind of where you'd like to be, usually 6 and then trying to get it down to 3. We may end up interviewing 8. The trouble is, you get a little cross-eyed after a while,
Yeah, you do.
and it's not fair to the candidates, nor is it fair to the town, so we have to figure that out, and that'll happen Wednesday night.
Okay.
Volunteer recognition, just a reminder that the volunteer recognition event is December 11th, 4 to 6, prior to your meeting on that evening. Obviously, we don't want you to forget it, and we would hope that we get a nice turnout that night.
That's what I was gonna say, though, too. Are you requiring an RSVP? No? Just so we have an idea of how many people are showing up?
No, but I think we'll get a sense. I think we'll get a general sense of things. I think we can, we'll probably start asking. I'm not sure it required a formal RSVP, but some way of getting some indication will be helpful.
Yeah.
It's the first one. It may not be oversubscribed, but that's okay. It'll build.
Yeah, okay.
And then the last two on the report were the tax classification hearing and the special town meeting, and I think we've done both of those.
Yep. Okay. All right, thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
Warrant's done, so we're down to committee updates. QRSD task force, we met last Wednesday. Was that, or 2 Wednesdays ago? After, it was, no, because last Wednesday was
Last
like.
Wednesday was
Two
the day before.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, so 2 Wednesdays ago was right, it's like last week didn't happen. It's,
Well, that's why the calendars get so stretched
I
this
know,
time
they
of
do.
year. No matter what you do, the holidays just creep in there.
Yeah, so 2 days after our last board meeting, we had a task force meeting with MRPC, and they had 5 or 6 people there again, and we went over how the information is going to be disseminated relative to what the $100,000 is being spent on, and one of those is going to be a website, which it's not 100% set yet, but they were emailing me back and forth. I think it's going to be QEMP.info, but that's not definite yet. It's Quabbin. Do you remember what the acronym is?
No, but it was municipal partnership at the
Yeah,
end.
it was. It was basically the task force name is kind of going away because that has been linked, rightfully so, because of the first grant that we got, directly to the Quabbin School District. Now that this $100,000 is the Quabbin School and Municipal District, that has to do with, business opportunities and economic growth and all those other collaborations. And what the MRPC has been tasked to do is, have 4 different real major goals to be able to present. School being one of them, but not all of them. So we had, 10 names of 4 to 6 word sort of titles that we all talked about and hashed around, and then finally selected one. It's QEMP, and it's Quabbin Educational Municipal Partnership, I think. Pretty simple. So something like that. And that's going to have a website. I think it's going to be pretty informational, and then it's going to be a way that we can get out information to, any meetings that are going to be done. These MRPC people are going to be all over the place meeting, and then talking to, municipal heads and businesses and all that sort of stuff. So more to come.
Did you want to mention the survey?
Right. Okay, so there's going to be 2 surveys. One of them is going to be coming out, and that is going to be for the municipal members only, and school as well. So people who are essentially employed by the district or towns or what in some way, shape, or form, that just, has, it's like a 10-minute survey. It's a survey you've seen that gets the opinions of those who work within the district for it. And then a couple weeks after that, there'll be a district-wide survey that comes out that CMRPC is going to, use to sort of find which way to navigate from there. It's funny. Some people have opinions on surveys. It's like, another survey or whatever. But the people who get paid to do this stuff, CMRPC, the planners, are like, these things work. We get 10% back. We get whatever. We understand where things are at. So I don't know. We're trying to go into it hopeful. It's still early, and we got to spend the money by June 30th. So that's the plan. Okay, that's QRSD Town Center Committee. You just heard me talking to Neer about the plan there with the 25% design plan for our January, whatever it is, third Thursday of the month meeting. So more to come there. And then bylaw review committee, I don't think we've got anything to update on. So that's that. Okay, all right, we got some minutes.
Yep, I think we were all there.
You ready for the motion now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I am.
I make a motion to accept the minutes of the Board of Selectmen meeting November 13th, 2017.
I'll second that.
All three of us were there. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Great job keeping up with all the minutes too.
Okay.
Yeah. So old business, I guess just one little quick note. We did get an email from Tyler, one of the kids,
Yes.
one of the kids' dads, asking for that. Did we send it to him
Yes,
now?
yes, and I said, can you please
Yeah.
confirm that you received this? And I said,
Okay.
I did send it, we sent it to Maureen, that was the email that we had, superintendent, and then I sent it to the emails
Yeah, I
that were
did
on
that the
the.
next day.
Yeah. I
know, that's what I
It was-
thought.
it
And
just
on the
doesn't make any
list.
sense.
So he
Well,
said
then-
he said they might not have checked their email, he said it probably went by, but he did get it, he confirmed, and he was grateful, and I said, if there's anything else you need, so
Alright.
they did get it.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks. Anyone else have any other old business? No. Okay. Quick meeting. So public press question and answer. Anyone out there? Chance?
Chance, yeah. So what you were just talking about, the kid was that the kids that came to get the memorial for the skate park.
It was, yes.
You were just talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I had one other question, which regarded the surveys. Can you just tell me a little bit of detail about the surveys, what are the surveys about, and where people can find them, and when they'll be coming out?
Yeah. So I don't have the exact dates.
I don't either.
It's going to be within the next. I think the best way to put it is the next couple of weeks. You know what? If you don't mind,
Can you also, I was thinking without trying to make it sound dismissive, you might want to call Central Mass directly.
I was going to just
Sure.
say, can I email you, Chance, and just
Yeah,
put you
yeah.
in direct contact with her name's Trish Settles.
Yeah.
She's one of the sort of directors there who will have all that information because I'm just going to be guessing.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right.
Yeah, if you could just shoot me an email
I will.
tomorrow sometime, that would be great.
I'll copy her on it too, so we can just sort of all
Yeah,
be on that chain.
Because I'm gonna reach out tomorrow in regards to the tax classification, because I'm gonna be following up on this tomorrow
Okay.
as well, so I'll be in contact with you.
Okay. Anything else? Tom?
I haven't had a chance to read this in detail, but it's a good little document. Are all the numbers in it strictly related to real estate taxes? Or did pilots somehow get woven into this?
I really wish they were still here to answer that.
I know, I just
Well,
had a chance to look at it.
Didn't she say
She said something about-
93?
She said something
Half
about
of
Said
it.
pilot
$35,000
agreements in there.
was solar.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll go ask her, but, we have to be careful, pilots flow to free cash. We got a real good opportunity to do something with it.
Yeah, I don't.
Pilots shouldn't be in here, they're, local revenue. They're not real estate tax.
Right, but some of the forms that you're looking at are a listing of all of our revenues. It's not just property taxes.
That's perhaps
The
what's
purposes of the meeting were to discuss the tax classification, but the revenue sheets that explain where our money comes from include all the revenues that were used. In the instance that caused the problem, it was simply not labeling one of those revenues appropriately in the view of the state.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not worried about that problem.
No, I know that.
They are over there until 8 tonight, I don't know if that helps. They're over there till 8.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anything further?
Just back on the skateboard memorial. Who can I talk to follow up on that? Is there someone I can reach out to perhaps tomorrow to get some contact information from the people that are trying to do this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can email me,
Okay.
bos@hubbardstonma.us.
Okay, I'm just wondering whether you would be giving out information about somebody that came to a meeting. Maybe the better referral is to the school district?
Yeah,
I don't know.
or I can reach out to them and have them
Yeah,
contact
there
you.
you
you
go.
go.
That's an even better
That'd
way.
be great. Yeah.
So just forward me the contact information again, I probably have it in there, but,
Okay. Yeah. I'll just.
okay.
Any further?
Motion to adjourn.
Second motion?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, adjourn at 7:12.